following occurs between 12 midday and 1 p.m. of the Varan journey, using appropriate machines and equipment. All events are in real time.
Scott from Wessex Blades here. I thought I'd take you along with a miniature journey. This is a Varan regrind. So this is for Duncan, who's let me know he's off and away next weekend. So I'm going to have to pull my finger out my ass and get this Varan done for him. I like Varans. Good, bloody good chunky handles. They're by Condor. So we've got a plastic handle, decent steel, 1075. But it's what you get for the money. 40 something quid. Man blade, instant. The only snag is they come with flat slab and a convex, a troll ago. Do you know what? I don't know if that's good enough, unfortunately. So what I'm going to do is put a flattish on there with a micro bevel on the end of it, just so small it's going to be easily turnable back into a Scandi if he wants to make it a Scandi, but I like doing with a micro bevel at the end. So what do I got to go through in order to get a job done like this done, even though it's only a small job? Well, initially tape it up. So I've got the body, as it were, taped evenly with 2 layers of very thick masking tape. Now you've got to do it evenly, because when it goes on the jig, the last thing you want is buckles and ripples, because it's going to... Exactly. So really even, and then when you get to the handle, just bundle it up. It's just the problem with black blades. I hate doing black blades, because once you all you got to do is lose a bit of grit. Ting! Black coating. So you need to protect it to start with. Let's go to the grinder and see what I got to go through in order to sort this out for a simple bevel. Right. This was 15 to start with, so I'm not going to use the most coarse belt because it's already got a bevel on it, so I'm going to go for an 80. Now as the belts wear, your writing disappears on the inside, so you see I've written 80 on there? Dark Doobie Garage. So, and I've done myself a direction now. Now some belts apparently are unidirectional. A lot of it is how they've joined it up on the splice, so you've got to be aware of that. And just before the writing disappears, make sure you're right again. So when you pick up the belt, first of all you've got a decent guess as to what the grit is, plus if it's one direction, at least you'll get it in the right way. So I'm going to put an 80 on there, just for now. Winter in it. There we go. Right, tension is done up. I've got to get it at 90 to start with in order to recalibrate my inclinometer digital goofer. So, tried and tested. Engineer square. You can use a tri-square. Try TRY, not TRY. You're not trying to get a square. There's 3 ways of making a square. Tricorn. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it up and get that 90. Because what's going to stay is that. Alright, so get my Uber 19mm, which is this one. Undo that. I could do it with the plan, but when the blades are up against the belt, it's going up against the belt, not the plan. So I do the square to the belt. And it also allows me to get hints of grit or not when I'm looking through. So that is now 90. Where's the 19? Right, Unfortunately, with this way of doing it, because it's done up this side, not that side, it moves when you tighten it up. So as you go, you've got to double check. I'm looking at the light through the square. Okay, I've nipped it up because I'm going to adjust it in a minute. So that's 90. Now another little tip is this. I've got some tiny weeny little magnets. Okay, they're tiny little things like this. Gravity works on them as well. So they're designed with countersunk screws in. I just stick them on the body of the grinder. On low key, that goes on the side, and the Allen key just literally sticks to it. The engineer square and my Allen key for adjusting my 7K Metalworks jig. They live on a magnet on top of my little bench drill. That's where they live. So up and over, there they are. Alright, so as soon as I finish with that engineer square, stick it back where it's supposed to go. Because in my garage you lose your face, you know, because it's just stuff everywhere. So I've got it at 90. Let's get that set up for it. Oh, the lighting man's good here, isn't he? Right, now digital intercronometer, angle dingle. It's one of these things. All right. CR 1532 batteries at the 30, wherever the batteries are at the back. Turn it on. Get a little digital display. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on there and zero that. Boom. And I'm going to put it at my secret angle of secret geometry. Boogie. And again, unfortunately this thing moves when you tighten it up, so you're getting close. It's like fists of fury with this thing. Good enough. So, as long as the guy who's made it, who's done a bloody good job of it, when you slide this in and out and relock it, it's going to be very, very close to how you've set this. That ain't moving. So now I save the battery, turn it off. You don't order another battery in the next week or two. So that goes back in its pouch, up out the way. Now, tracking. Because you put a different belt, different tension, different angle, you'll never be the same. So, how's it going to work there, I think? Right. Turn it on, but slow. A little over that way. So. Not bad. Done it slow, speed it up, see how it reacts. Over there. Okay, so that's that done. Just for now. Beauty of the biggest platen in the world. even though the platen was that big, I got a piece of stock this big. That gives me a chance to put that there. I can put that out the way. Don't cut a bit off till I know how big you want it. That could be said in many areas of life. Now, I dare say I could be using this wrong, but jigs, okay, because it's got a handle on it, I've got to be very clever about how we put it on and how it reacts to that, grinding away bolts. But we'll see how it goes. Might end up I need to use a 90-degree wooden block, but we'll see. So I use Ant's jig this way. Again, I could be wrong, but this is what I does. And we'll see how it goes. And do that one up because the vibration will make that one disappear. And when we swap the blade over, the handle will be on the other side. This one will be screwed down tight, and the blade will rest on that one, that one, and that one. Anyway, where's this going? Oh, you're so good, you kids, eh? On the magnet. It's got to be that way to start with. Going that way. I want minimal amount of grit on there. Okay. There. Excuse me, madam. Okay, so what do I need now? If you don't use one, you're a fool. I don't mince me words.
And what else? Now, granted it's only assistant specs, but it still stops stuff going in the eyes. So, here we go. I can see where the ricasso ends and the blade starts. So, pretty even. I've got to swap it over. So the light goes there. Now, with the tape,
you got all of a sudden you have a little bit of a buck as the tape suddenly lets go. So expect a shock going through the jig. As I say, on this jig and the way I use it, I could be wrong, but I get on with this. So that now goes there. That goes there. And to stop that one rolling out with the vibration, he goes home. He goes all the way in. And these do up tight. Again, if I didn't have the tape on, I'd bugger up that black coating. Now you might end up with a slight mark, but at least with 2 layers of tape, I've mitigated it somewhat. Now, as with all blades that have already been done by somebody else in a factory somewhere else, like El Salvador, I don't know how well they ground to begin with, and I've covered it up with tape. So all I'm trying to do is try and do the same both sides. We'll see.
Make it in the middle, baby. Bit of a sweepy, and then get the same depth of bevel on both sides. This is what you're dealing with. Focus, you dumb machine. Right. There's the same bevel I've put. See the top where it's ground? Look what's underneath. That's the original bevel. And then nothing, and there's me catching it at the end. Same pass, from there to there, from there to there, the platen hasn't met the blade. Because it's... Welcome to redoing blades. Love it. So just keep doing it even and trust it will meet.
So I go back the other way and rematch it. There's one thing I've noticed with doing their bush laws. When they put the Condor stamp in, and El Salvador, they actually distort the blade. About here they got like Condor, there's this huge great thing goes boom like that, and it distorts the steel. Oh yes. Whether it's perfect or not doesn't matter, because I've got another couple of grits to go yet. I'm just trying to get it even on the actual stock removal rather than the finishing. Okay, so that looks pretty good. That's exactly what I've just done. And what I did initially, I had to now match the depth that side for that side. It'll be about 2 passes. Could be more, because I'm going gentle. As I say, I've put a tiny bit of water on it, but I haven't made the blade hot.
Right, same height both sides now.
On the blade that's going there, I've got it pretty damn close. So what I'm going to do now is drop the size of the grit. Now another problem now is this 80 ceramic, which is sort of a red colour, I can turn into a 120 alley oxide. These don't run as cool, so I have to be mindful of the fact that it will overheat quicker. Plus there's a smaller grit, so the surface area is higher. So you either push gentler, you go a bit slower. Again, different belt, that's moved. Tracking. So it reacts. of this is to get rid of the 80 grit finish, turn it into 120. I'm not really removing stock, I'm finishing it.
Right, gets the point now. You've got to clean the body of the blade off and the jig, or it won't sit right. Right, so now I'm going that way. Well, that is sharp, so watch your thumbs.
So now there's no more visible evidence of an 80 grit, it all looks 120. So I'll keep the jig set up that way, the light on that side. Lose that. And get myself a Trizact. Right, see you in a minute. New Trizact.
So, finishing the 120 off, and this is very slow now.
Now, I won't put the camera too close, and the reason is this. The grain nature of a Trizact bell occasionally puts a stroboscopic effect, like lights turning on and off. So, if you're susceptible to flashlights and the rest of it, try not to look at it if you can help it, because you get that. You see that up there on the belt up there. That happens. Right? for a few additional stages of creating a micro bevel. Let's see how I got on in there. Great unwrapping, as it were. The thing with doing factory blades is you're always chasing how the blade was profiled, not only how it was beveled. And I'll do a bit on the whiteboard in a minute to say, you know, sometimes if it looks, ooh, I don't look right, I've got to go to what's already there. So if I find a piece of tissue, one second. Right, so as much as I can go get off with the factory black. Pretty darn right. Hopefully you can see that. Now, when I get a blade that's come in, that's already been manufactured, what hasn't happened is the diligence of someone like Lee or Sandy or Dell. And when they've got their blade, this is absolutely freaking parallel, right? Top of the blade to the bottom of the blade is absolutely parallel. Now, when you get factory blades that are done, especially budget ones, they'll address the blade probably to a wheel or a belt grinder. They'll put the blade on it like that. Okay, and they'll just skank off. Now, if they remove slightly too much up the bevel, what you'll get is you get your spine, and the blade would get funny little sections like that, where there's deviations in the distance from the spine to the actual blade edge. Now, as long as when he goes back and he finds a bevel again, and you put on that, this is obviously exaggerated beyond all belief, so you're not going to get the same distance from there to there. The bevel is the same all the way along the edge, right? But it doesn't look absolutely straight. So what you end up with on the blade is sections that sort of do that. Now, all I'm going to do is just try and even it out a little bit. What sometimes happens on Condors, you get the blade coming across like that, you get the Condor bit slapped into the, okay, actually walloped into the side of the blade. And if you have a look, you've actually crushed up sections of the steel on this side, and if you look through on the other side, that's happened, where the die has gone in like that. Okay, and if you look on the side of the blade, if it was coming from that side, that's happened. So occasionally you get odd distortions in the blade, and of course if that's depressed there, then something happens with the blade this way. Because the first saying that is when you start forging metal, you know, it's like plasticine. If you whack that way and distort and gain a bit of material out the side of here because you wallop that, then there's all sorts of strange and wonderful things start going on elsewhere. So, you know, I'm not going to get absolutely perfect distance from the top to the bottom, but I am able to improve it somewhat. Another problem I always seem to be getting is, trying to do it that section there, if it's been on a round wheel and they've come in, okay, so that could be a stone or it could be a belt, doesn't matter, and the blade's gone that way, so he's got his hand here and his other hand up here. There's matey stood there with the blade and he's going up and down with the blade. Okay, got me like that, and he's going like this. If that digs in ever so slightly more in any one section, especially if they're really lambing them out, the blade side is doing this. That's the side of the, that's the actual side of the blade, because the blade, the wheel is dug in more as it's travelled along or whatever. So you know, if I come to doing finishing, the only way to finish a blade like that, if he started out as 5mm, and you got all of this going on, and if someone wants their blade, you know, finished or polished or anything, your 5mm eventually will end up as like 4.1. But you bought a blade at 5mm. Now, if you bought a blade at 5mm, your bevel is based on the fact that you've got a piece of stock that's 5mm thick. So if you have your 14-degree Scandi on it, it will look like that. If I make it thinner, your Scandi is now smaller. So generally speaking, I get to the point where I've had to stop, because not only have I reduced the thickness of your stock, I've reduced the height of your Scandi. If that makes sense. So they're all fun and games, these redos, so the Condors and the MODs and that, but it's trying to explain to someone who wants X done to it that you could have X done to it if you started with a brand new knife that had a nice bit of flat stock, but when it comes from whatever process, I've no idea, in order to get a finish or get a bevel, I've got to somehow work out what on earth the troll has done in order to make it. So with the Varan just now, I've managed to alleviate quite a lot of this sort of thing going on, because the blade was, the spine was right, but the actual bevel was just travelling along as it went, because all he's interested at the factory is putting a crude convex on. Da-da! And it'll do for your 40-something quid. But what I'm trying to do here is a nice attractive evening flat bevel, which, yes, I can even it out, but unless I get the blade like that and absolutely grind the edge away in order to get that, you'll end up with a knife that's 92% of what you had to start with. Happy days. Anyway, got Wessex Blades, the journey of the Varan. Thanks for joining me again. See you on the next one.